I'm exhausted. Hello and welcome to FTTR. I am Hugh McQuaid and today we are talking about Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor 2023. What an adrenaline shot that was. But before we dive into that, please hit subscribe, please like this video, please comment your thoughts on the show down in the comments below and I'll try and reply to every single one of them. So, Ring of Honor. Let's talk about Ring of Honor. Supercard of Honor to be specific. This was a card that looked like it could be the show of the weekend. It could be, a show of the year, to be honest. With the lineup that it had, it could easily be one of the best wrestling shows of the year. And I think TK himself, Tony Khan, has succeeded. Supercard of Honor was fantastic. Perfect. A near perfect, should I say, 3 hours of professional wrestling. And there are very few faults that I can find with this show. I loved a lot of it from top to bottom. Like I said, it was an adrenaline shot. It was a roller coaster ride. And now I'm on the come down from that adrenaline hit. I really, really love the show. Really, really loved it. Be sure to check it out. That's my quick review. But shall we dive into the play-by-play? Everything that happened on the show. I'll tell you the matches. I'll tell you the feuds. I'll tell you the angles. Everything that went down on the show. And we will go from there, the way a review works. So the first big positive, if you know me, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that Nigel McGinnis is one of, if not my favourite commentator of all time. The pairing of Mauro Ranallo and Nigel McGinnis was the perfect wrestling commentary team for me. I loved the pair of them. I loved everything he did on NXT UK with Vic Joseph as well. I think he brings such insight and credibility to everything he commentates. And now he is commentating in Ring of Honor. I am thrilled about that because he just added so many layers and so much depth to all of the matches through his commentary and his insight and his history that it just added to everything. We'll dive into it specifically with the Pure Championship match because that's where it really sort of shone through. But he was fantastic. Ian Riccaboni was fantastic. Caprice Coleman was fantastic. They're a great three-person commentary team. They're really, really good. And then we went into the opening match, which was for the AAA Mega Championship. It was Elio, Dalvin, Kingo, I think I probably pronounced that wrong, versus Commander. Oh my God, what a way to open a show. This probably won't be to some people's tastes because it was very spot heavy, but I actually think they told a pretty compelling story through this. And the story was, they don't need the mat. I think pretty much 90% of the offense was either from the top rope or via a springboard. There was a tiny bit of chain wrestling at the beginning, but the majority of this was all just Commander would hit a move off the top rope. Vikingo would hit a move off the top rope. Vikingo would hit a dive. Commander would hit a dive. They would always just play up the insane athletic ability that they had. And some of the spots in this were just insane. Commander doing the run across the ropes into a huge sort of Fosbury flip was awesome. You had Vikingo doing his 630 senton springboard out of the ring. There was an insane Mexican destroyer, I think they call it, when Commander was running across the ropes and he got caught in a Mexican destroyer by Vikingo from the top rope to the floor, not to the floor, to the mat. It was just insane. It was absolutely insane. Everything that went on in this match was insane. And I'm trying to remember all of the big spots that they did, but I think they were the big ones, the really big ones that really hit. And I just thought they told a compelling story with the fact that they didn't need the ring. They just needed the ropes and their athletic prowess. I think that worked really well in telling a story between two equals. But it was eventually Vikingo who got the upper hand. He hit a really nasty looking 630 senton from the top rope on Commander where he landed right on his stomach and got the win, retaining his Mega Championship. They shook hands at the end, Code of Honor adhered to, and yeah, match of the year contender here, and I hope they run it back. I'd love to see a rematch between these two. Maybe add in more luchadors, add in Dralistico, add in Rey Fenix, and you could have, honestly, just utter high-flying carnage. It could be a really fun event. But this match was an amazing way to kick off the show. The next match I wasn't particularly hyped for, and that was the Embassy versus AR Fox, Blake Christian and Metalik. But this actually continued the pace from the last one in that it was incredibly fast-paced. They squeezed so many spots into probably a short amount of time, probably only about 10 minutes. But the MVP of this was Blake Christian. Blake Christian looked amazing. He did this insane, just running spear. Yeah, he just did this insane sort of comeback sequence where he was just hitting everyone, and then he caught Brian Cage in I think it was a Dream Valley Driver when Velveteen Dream did it, but it's like a rolling Death Valley Driver. He caught Brian Cage in that, and it looked sick. And then the Gates of Agony, I think, are really, really underrated and underutilized. I think they work really well as powerhouse monsters. They've got a great look to them, and they really sort of emphasize, these guys don't stand a chance. They don't stand a chance. They might drop kick us every now and then, but no, we are badasses. And I think Brian Cage, to his credit, he did a lot of selling for the other guys. He did a lot of selling for AR Fox and Metalik, but it was ultimately Brian Cage who picked up the win after nailing, I believe it was Metalik with a drill claw. Good win. I think Brian Cage and the Embassy, I think they're good in Ring of Honor. I'd quite like to see them transition and maybe feud with the House of Black over in AEW. I think that'd be quite an interesting pairing, quite an interesting clash of styles. But yeah, really good match this, really fun, really enjoyed it. Then we got a match that I really, really loved, and it was a shame because I don't think the crowd were as into this. They were probably burnt out from the last two really high-octane matches. But Athena versus Yuka Sakazaki was an incredible match. I really, really loved this. Athena coming out and smashing the porcelain doll on the ramp was insanely fun. Great heel work from Athena, the way she's taunting, the way she's dancing, the overconfidence, the arrogance. I really love everything she does with her character. But then it just got really hard hitting, as most Athena matches do. And she gave a lot to Yuka Sakazaki as well, because Sakazaki had some great spots in here, like running and diving off the stage, a huge splash onto Athena. She had a really sick combination of kicks as well from in the ring, which just, she works so well. She's so quick, Yuka Sakazaki, and you don't see her enough. She's on Dark a lot, but does anyone watch Dark? And I think she's just really, really phenomenal stuff, and I'd want to see this also go back, because the match ended with a slight distraction in which Athena chucked the referee into Yuka Sakazaki, who was climbing on the middle rope, and then hit, I can't remember what they call it. I call it an eclipse. It will probably always be an eclipse, but she hit the eclipse while Yuka was suspended from the second rope. Looked nasty, really nasty, as Athena stared into the camera, picked up the 1, 2, 3 and retained. Athena is on such a great run. She's another person I'd love to see transition over to Dynamite and get that proper good AEW run, as well as Ring of Honor, because she's so great. She's one of my favourites. She could easily challenge Jamie Hayter and we would have no complaints. But this was an absolutely phenomenal match. Next up was a match that got a lot of time, and it was very, very hard hitting indeed. Samoa Joe versus Mark Briscoe for the Ring of Honor Television Championship. This, I think we all went into this thinking Mark Briscoe was going to win, but no, he put up a good fight in what was a brutally hard hitting match where there was just chops galore, huge moves on the outside. Samoa Joe portraying that monster, and Mark Briscoe being the underdog babyface, working so well. He had his family in the crowd. It all worked really, really well. And it all sort of built to this point where Samoa Joe throws a chair in the ring. He's going to use a chair, and Mark Briscoe uses that chair to flip over the rope, hits a huge tope. Then he hits a blockbuster on Samoa Joe through a table, and it riled the crowd up even more. They were a bit more awake than they were for the women's match. And yeah, he hits the froggy elbow. Looks like it's going to be 1, 2, 3. Samoa Joe gets his hand on the rope, and he's like, oh, that was so close. It was so close. It was a really good near fall. But then it just sort of escalated into counter after counter. And then, yeah, Samoa Joe locked in the, I want to say Kirifuna clutch, but I feel like that's Shayna Baszler's. I can't remember what Samoa Joe calls it. So he locked in the rear naked choke, and it looked like he was going to Briscoe was going to escape. But no, he passed out. And Samoa Joe retained the Ring of Honor Television Championship. I thought this was magnificent. And favourite spot in the match as well, I nearly forgot to speak about this, is Mark Briscoe's sort of comeback where he crawls to the corner, looks like he's going for a tag, like doing a hot tag spot, and then just tags Jay. And it was incredibly emotional, incredibly heartfelt. And that gave him the fire to push on at that section of the match. Just flawless stuff. And then in the post-match, it looks like Samoa Joe's going to destroy Mark even more. Grabs him by the throat and then just shakes his hand. I think it was a wonderful match. Absolutely wonderful. Incredible hard-hitting stuff. And one of the best matches on the show, in my opinion. Next up, we got my only one sort of low light. I don't think this really needed to be on the show in the slightest, and that was Daniel Garcia taking on Hiroshi Tanahashi. Yeah, it's cool. You can get Tanahashi on your show. But this did nothing for anyone, really. I don't know if you want Tanahashi to be beating Daniel Garcia, one of your hot prospects, just sort of in a weird fashion, because Garcia had a lot of this match. The best part of it was Garcia taunting and doing the Shinsuke Nakamura on the ropes thing. I think that was really funny. Garcia fits the sports entertainer character so well, but you can still see that confliction because he is a terrific wrestler. But Tanahashi winning with a frog splash, I don't think Tanahashi needed this win. I think Garcia needed it more, and it was just a weird sort of late addition to the card. I think Tony was sort of like, "You doing anything, Tanahashi? Want to come on Ring of Honor?" Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's how that conversation went, and then he just won and beat Daniel Garcia in a pretty inconsequential match. I would have cut this match, in my opinion, and then you would have had a little bit more lean, because 3 hours is quite lean, a leaner show that flowed a bit better, because I wasn't terrifically into this. It didn't need to be here. It was fine for what it was, but wrong outcome as well, in my opinion. Then the next three matches were just insanity. We had the reach for the Sky Ladder match for the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships. The Lucha Brothers taking on Aussie Open, taking on Rush and Dralistico, taking on Top Flight, taking on the Kingdom. And when I usually say a lot when I do these reviews, there's too much to run down. There was too much to run down in this match. I stopped taking notes at some point. I took notes after, and some of the crazy stuff they did in this match it blows my mind. This is on the caliber of the NXT TakeOver North American ladder match for me, in that it was just spots, but the spots were so good and so well worked that everything just gets a pass for me. There was a great Hurricane Rana, I think, on Darius Martin to the outside, where he just went straight through the announce team's table. All the broadcasting equipment went down. People stopped talking. Really loved that level of sort of realism. That's what I meant to say. Then you had a ladder bridge set up on the outside, in which no one wanted to go through it in the slightest. Aussie Open hit Darius Martin with a inverted spine buster through it. It did not break. I think Mike Bennett hit, I want to say, Dralistico with a powerbomb onto the ladder. It did not break. And then Rush finally hit a huge hip toss suplex from the apron on Mark Davis, and he went through it. It took 3 attempts to get that ladder to break. And there was just insane. There was... You must have seen this. It's blown my mind thinking about it. So you had a ladder bridge like that on the ropes, and then you had 4 tables set up on the outside, and Penta did a Canadian Destroyer on Dante Martin out of the ring from the ladder through those tables. What? There's probably more stuff that I'm forgetting, but those are the highlights that really stick in my mind. And then it came down to the Kingdom trying to get the upper hand on Rey Fenix, who was climbing the ladder after Penta had gone through the tables. And then he managed to knock Mike Bennett off backwards, who went smack bang into a ladder. hit Matt Taven, who went smack down onto the ladder bridge, getting that to come out and unfold. And Rey Fenix picked up the win, winning the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships in what was a fucking awesome ladder match. It was just everything you want out of a ladder match was in this match. It's just incredible. It was an incredible match. And then they go to the ramp, FTR come out, Mark Briscoe comes out to award them the tag team championships, which was really nice, really good stuff. And yeah, everything about this match was great. Go out of your way to see this one, because it will blow your mind. So essentially the co-main event was Wheeler Yuta versus Katsuyori Shibata for the Ring of Honor Pure Championship. Who should come out with Wheeler Yuta but Jon Moxley? Jon Moxley comes out as well, and that got a big pop from the crowd, because they're like, oh, this is crossing over with AEW. We've got Moxley here, and Moxley's pep talking Wheeler Yuta, is hyping him up, getting him ready for the match. And then this played out like a really good Pure Rules match. If you're not into pure wrestling, then this probably won't be for you. But if you do like pure wrestling, then this is definitely the match for you. I like pure wrestling, but I think on this card in particular, it was a welcome break from the very high octane level of pace that we've had, and breaking up the ladder match in the main event with this card was a stroke of genius, because it was really, really good. A lot of chain wrestling at the beginning, and Wheeler Yuta is the heel. He's the bad guy, and then he uses his rope break first after Shibata is just sort of working him over, because Shibata he knows more. He is a well-versed, well-travelled legend. And then a low blow from Wheeler Yuta, closed fist, that loses him his first closed fist. He's used his first closed fist. And then it just escalated more and more. Shibata got worked over a little bit, and then Shibata made a comeback. He overcame Wheeler Yuta with a bulldog choke, similar to Moxley, chokes him out, PK kicks him in the chest. 1, 2, 3. Shibata is the new Pure Wrestling champion, which I was not expecting in the slightest. I think with the Blackpool Combat Club story with the Elite going on, I didn't expect any of them to lose their belts anytime soon. But yeah, Wheeler Yuta's overconfidence and arrogance got the better of him, and Shibata put him through his paces and beat him. I think that's a really, really nice story, particularly with Nigel McGinnis on commentary, pointing out the fact that he doesn't have Regal there anymore. He doesn't have Regal to coach him through these matches, and his arrogance and his overconfidence is getting the better of him. Nigel McGinnis, the longest reigning Pure champion, giving really good insight on this match, when he should go for a rope break, when he should go for a closed fist. Just added to a magical Pure Rules wrestling match that was really, really good, with a really shock outcome. And then, again, pointed out on commentary, how is Moxley going to react when Wheeler Yuta gets to the back? After hyping him up so much at the beginning, how is he going to react when his protege goes through the curtain without the belt? I think it's phenomenal storytelling. Really, really enjoyed this match. And yeah, great Pure Wrestling, and we got a new champ, so we'll see where this goes. And finally, we had the main event. We had Eddie Kingston taking on Claudio Castagnoli for the Ring of Honor World Championship in a match billed as 15 years in the making, and this did not disappoint in the slightest. As soon as the bell rings, Eddie Kingston just launches himself at Claudio, gets the upper hand, and then they just start brawling. They just have a magnificent spree of brawling, just huge move after huge move, suplex on the floor. It all felt hard-hitting and real, as Eddie Kingston does so well. And then he got into the ring, great near fall off a Hurricane spinning back fist from Eddie Kingston, gets the 2 count but does not put Claudio away. And from there, Claudio sort of takes control. He hits a huge sort of rolling suplex from the apron to the floor, starts hitting all the big moves, all of his uppercuts, clocks him with an uppercut to the back of the head. Kingston looks like he's on the ropes when Claudio hits him with a neutralizer. I was going to do it then, but Eddie Kingston kicks out at 1, and that gave me the same adrenaline-fueled pump up that I got when Kenny Omega kicked out of the Golden Trigger at Revolution 2019, I can't remember what year it was, I think it was 2020. When he kicked out at 1, it just fired me up so much, only for a huge uppercut, another 2 count, and Claudio just can't put Eddie away. And it's just, I think Eddie might win. I think Eddie might beat him. And then it escalated further. Another huge... So Eddie Kingston goes for the back fist, but he's too tired and it's weak. And Kingston Claudio sort of shakes it off. Another one, full power, right around the cheek of Claudio. That one gets another great sort of near fall, I hope, spot moment for Kingston. And then it goes to a powerbomb. He's got him in the straitjacket powerbomb, lifts him up. Eddie Kingston rolls through. 1, 2... Claudio rolls him forward, 1, 2, 3, rolls up Kingston, and I love this finish. At first, I wasn't a big fan of it, but I love this finish because this is the type of finish that's really going to play on Kingston's mind and further his character. He wasn't, he didn't pass out, he didn't get bloodied with a chair, he didn't get knocked out. He got out wrestled by Claudio, and that's just going to sit on him. And it's going to make him seethe with anger. And he's going to think about that for days. And I really, really love that character motivation for a rematch, where we'll probably get some sort of stip, maybe a last man standing match or something like that. And loved it, absolutely loved it. And the closing angle was Kingston is in the corner. He's distressed. He's annoyed. Claudio's going for the handshake. And like a pack of wolves, Yuka comes down, also closing in on Kingston. Shibata comes down to the aid of Kingston, and then they have a stare down. Yuka and Claudio staring down with Shibata and Kingston, both raising their titles. Claudio raising the world title, Shibata raising the pure title, and that's how we go off the air with Eddie Kingston cutting a promo saying he's coming for Claudio. He is coming for Claudio. I think that's a great way to end the show. Really great main event, and what capped off an incredible night of wrestling. Absolutely incredible. Like, say what you will about Ring of Honor TV, which I haven't even really checked out, and say what you will about AEW TV. There's no denying that Tony Khan doesn't know how to put on these premium events and make them feel special, because this was special. This was really special. I loved this show. Really loved it. It's probably going to be one of my favourites of the year. Overall, I give this 4.75 out of 5. If you'd cut the Tanahashi match, this would have been a straight 5 out of 5 for me, but that one little match dragged it down a little bit. But 4.75 out of 5 for me. One of the strongest shows of the year. But I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Do you like the show? Did you hate it? Let me know everything you want, and I will try and apply to every single one of you. Thank you all ever so much for your support, and have a nice day.